Hi, this is Mike Gambrill at Blackhawk, and this is our third episode now on the Wheels series. And what we're going to do is just kind of like what we did with the light trike. I'm just going to take you through the Lowboy 3 and its features. We're going to interject a few pictures here and there in this video showing some more open shots without the seat in it, so you can get a clear view of an aluminum tank installation versus a plastic fuel tank installation. The plastic tank is the one that comes with it. The aluminum tank is an upgrade. But just so you get some clear views of that. Also, with the front end, I was mentioning in the first video that we have this one set up as a trike. So we're going to be putting some pictures in there to where you can see it set up as the quad. So we'll go ahead and start at the front, and we'll kind of work our way back like we did last time. Now, like on the light trike, we kind of adopted this moving the steering out or bringing it back in with the Lowboy 3. We've done, or with the light trike, we've done that the same with this. So right here is a bolt, and if you remove this bolt, and you have the choice of a hitch pin or the bolt. It comes with both. If you remove this bolt, this whole steering yoke moves out. Now this has a tube that goes actually all the way to here. And once more, it has the collars. So there's a 4-inch collar and a 2-inch collar. And we can bring this out 4 inches, or we can bring it out 2 inches. And that extends out the steering. So once more, some adjustability in there for different height people. Now, we do get some people here that are, on the shorter side. In those cases, what we do is we'll go ahead and we can re-drill, and we can move the seat up forward also for people who are shorter. This configuration tends to work for the average size guy. And of course, we've made it, if we have a really tall guy, the seat's back there, we can push the steering out. So anyways, there's that flexibility there. This one I was mentioning was, serial number 001. We had installed these switches in here for a strobe and a landing light and stuff. And these are things that you can do yourself at home. We're not really offering a kit for this or anything like that. That's the beauty about the ultralights, is you can kind of do what you want with them. But it was something that we did with this one. That's basically the front end. If we come back to this area right here, you'll notice that there's another bolt going through here. So this frame actually slides apart. You have to take the seat off, but then this whole front frame can come apart. And then right here, you'll see another bolt. So this back piece can slide out also once you disconnect there. So this frame is really 3 main pieces. Most people who buy these are not taking them apart. It's not can you do it? Yes. Would it be really kind of a pain? My opinion, yes. So most people who get these will go ahead and put them on a trailer or in the back of their pickup. If you've got an 8-foot bed, the old school pickup, not these new micro beds that they're coming out with now that are pretty useless in my opinion. These will roll right into the back of an 8-foot bed. So anyways, moving on. We have the seat belt and the shoulder strap harness assembly. That comes down and it actually ties right into the main frame, and there's mount points for each coming around for the 4-point harness. Moving up a little bit, you'll notice that the carabiners are right here, and these bars right here, notice if I could lift this whole thing up, there's no load on these. These are just to locate your hang angle or your CG. So by moving this back or moving it forward, we can get that hang angle right. We always want the front end coming off the ground first. So we do this just by simply hanging it up in the air with you sitting in it, and we can move this back and forth along here. The actual load where you're attached to the paraglider comes down through this strap, and this strap goes around the entire main frame. So that's where all the load is carried at with these. It's not these. These have really no structural value to them. They're just to locate your CG. Moving back farther, this one is set up with the aluminum fuel tank in it, and this is what I was talking about a bit earlier. We're gonna splice some pictures into this video where you have a nice clear open view without the seat being in here. But this is optional. All of these units come with the new style LiFe P04 lithium batteries, and these batteries are charged off the charging system from the engine. The cage assembly on here, so this right here is your hoop and cage assembly and the mount. This just rests on the bar, and we put a rubber bushing underneath here just to give a little bit of buffer between the motor mount portion and the main frame of the Lowboy 3. And then down here is our attached to the main frame going to the engine mount frame. And that's how this is attached. So it's very simple. If you needed to remove this unit, you're really just unplugging the battery, undoing your fuel line, and then these two bolts come out, you slide out, and you can lift this whole thing off and set it off to the side. We do have customers that do this. It takes literally 10 minutes to do, to where you can save some room in your garage. Maybe it's winter time, you're not going to be flying it, you don't have a trailer, you usually put it in the back of your pickup, but you keep it in the garage. So this whole thing will lift off and set down on the side. I'm going to turn this around real quick so we can look at the back end of this. On the motor itself, this is the Aero 1000, and as I mentioned in the first video, this motor right here was actually the very first one. These legs that are coming down, there's 4 of them. They're back here and then right here. So if you lift this off, turn your prop, so it's about like this, you can set this on the ground, the whole cage, everything, and just sets on these feet. They're what they call the work stand feet. And that keeps the cage and everything up off the ground too. So it's just kind of easier to move this against the wall, and some people just go ahead and drain all the fuel out, and now you've got the frame, and then they stand that up on end, and then it's not taking up so much room in the garage if you're going to store it for a while. Coming down here, the wheels and tires on here is kind of the same concept that we've always had, hitch pins. So breaking this down, we can remove this hitch pin, and the axle assembly slides out. This rear tire and the front tires are also held together with the same pins onto the spindle as we use on the light trike. So you can snap that off, the wheel just comes right off. The axles on this is 1 1/8 inch fiberglass axles, and once more, a combination of lower tire pressure. We run these at the same 12 to 15 psi in combination with the fiberglass axle. Gives us that nice suspension. So as we're taxiing over the ground and everything, it really does absorb the bumps really well. And if we have that hard landing once more, if it's a real mega hard landing and stuff, that axle will break, soaking up all the load. So it doesn't go to you. So, once more, it's doing its job. If we come onto this side, like the plastic fuel tanks are obviously clear. So we have the clear fuel tank that's 3.2 gallons, which you'll see some pictures interjected in here. You can use a mirror and stuff to see that. On the aluminum tanks, we just went old school. Some people, I know some people that have made up their own tanks and use an electric sending unit like you'd have in your car and all that. I just wanted to keep things simple and think that that's the easiest way to do it. So the old school sight glass tube where you can still be flying and you can look back in here and you'll get a visual reference of how much fuel you have in it. The switches on here. So one of our former students and everything started 3D printing these for us. So we've actually located the start switches here. That would be on, and that would be start. And this is very easily accessible while you're flying. If we come up here to the throttle, this is your kill switch. So in the up position, everything's live. In the down position, it turns everything off. So this, unlike most of your other paramotors, this is literally an on and off switch. So if you have to go for a restart, you have to actually turn it on again and then come back down here and then hit the start switch if you want to turn the motor off and glide down for a while and enjoy some silence. Like to refer you to we've got a very good assembly video on this. So I'd like to refer you to that for a full breakdown on it. But this really is the main features of this machine. The beauty of the four-stroke, guys, is really they're smooth, they're quiet, they have a lot of power. With this type of a unit, obviously we're not worried about putting it on your back and running with it. So we're not worried about carrying the weight of it. And fuel consumption wise is about 1 gallon an hour. So you economy wise and everything, and then really it's not a maintenance intensive engine like on your two strokes. Your two strokes, you got to pay a lot more attention to those. And I'm not saying that you don't have to pay attention to this by any means. I'm just saying that there's less to do with this than there is with the two-stroke. And so if you're wanting to do, long cross-country flights and sit in a comfortable seat and be able to have the ability to carry a few extra things versus what you're able to do practically with a foot launch unit, this is a really comfortable way for cross-country flights. Disadvantages to it, yeah, they take up some more space. They are heavier. You most of the time have to have some way of moving it to and from your house to where you want to go fly and that kind of stuff, which kind of brings up a good point, things between foot launch and on wheels. The primary advantage really on foot launch is just the sheer portability of it. But that really is kind of the only advantage. This is my opinion, okay? I know that there's going to be a lot of people out there and they're going to have their own opinions, and I respect that, and I think it's great. But the main that's really the advantage on a foot launch unit. When you go to wheels, there's a lot of people that's, I like hearing the comments about, well, I can take off in a shorter distance, or I can land in a shorter area. I can take off in more unimproved type areas doing foot launch versus wheels. I tend to disagree with that. You're not going to go running through a boulder field just the same as you wouldn't land in a boulder field on wheels. It just doesn't work that way. I've done, and I am going to do a video. It'll be kind of a fun one where Brandon and I are going to have a little bit of a drag race. I'll be on my wheels and he'll be on his foot launch, and we'll see who actually does get off the ground faster and who can land on a dime easier. And I think that I'll prove my point in that one. In most cases, I can be off the ground a lot faster than the foot launch guy. And you can too. That's just going out and practicing. Anything that you see us do here with our units, especially students that have come through here. There's nothing special about what we're doing, and you know, we're not super pilots or anything else. You just got to take the time to go out and practice, and you can do exactly the same things. Anyways, back to the whole wheels thing. I hope you enjoyed a little introduction to the Lowboy 3, and we're going to do another one, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but just a Lowboy 2 set up with the same motor, and just have you take a look at that one. And then when we get some conditions, which we haven't had lately, weather-wise, we're going to take you guys up flying with us, and we're going to fly all 3 of these and do some touch and goes and some taxiing and stuff like that, so you guys can get a nice view of what it looks like flying them. And until then, I'll catch you later for part 4. Have a good one.